Yeah, I promised you all that when I come back from my passport experience at the Nigerian High Commission, that I would come back with my experience and my story. I've had a very, very long day. I have been up since 5:30 today, running around, trying to get myself ready because I was going there with my son. My train was, sorry, excuse me. So where this happens is at the High Commission office in London. So in order to catch my train, which was about 7:23ish, I had to be up very early. Yeah, but the day didn't start out very well because that train actually got cancelled. But I don't need to bore you with all the stories. So anyway, so I eventually got there. Yeah, but before I talk about how it went, I would like to, because when I made this announcement, some people were chatting me to ask a few questions. So I will just give a bit of a backstory of how this application happens briefly. I'm not going to go into all the details. So if you want to renew your passport or you want to make a fresh passport for anyone in your home in United Kingdom, the portal you need to launch is passport intel, like INTL, one word, .immigration.gov.ng. passport INTL .immigration.gov.ng. So when you key in that information, it's going to take you to the passport application service page on the website, where you will have things like apply for fresh passport, apply for renewal or reissue, and different other things like application status or book appointment. So you're going to see how to navigate the portal. So depending on what you want to do, you would find how to go in. So for me and my son, we were doing the renewal, the reissue. Sorry about this. I'm really tired, but I needed to push out this thing today so that it will go off my mind. So had a long day. Yeah, so I went through the renewal. So it's quite straightforward. So you just follow the steps and everything you need to do until it gets to the payment point. I know someone also wanted to ask or find out about the payment. So the payment I did for 10 years, so that was $242. For my son, the maximum he could do, minors would do 5 years passport, so he couldn't do more than 5 years, and that will cost you a total of $142. So in case you're trying to plan towards these things, this is the cost of your application. And one other thing that will happen once you're done with the application, my advice is that you should print out your documents as you're making the application, your application page and other things that come up for you. Ensure that you have that printout because yeah, that was actually what I did. But if you leave it till later and you come back on the website, you might get confused about what to do or how to go about the printing. Oh, this cough, sorry. So when you print out, you're going to print out your appointment slip. You're going to print out your payment page. So you print out your appointment slip, your payment page. Those are very important things. And of course, your application forms. These are the key things that you must go to that renewal with, or whatever you're doing. Well, for me, I'm talking about renewal because that's what I did. Then on the appointment slip, it comes with instructions of additional documents you will go with. So it tells you to bring the application form, the printout of the appointment slip, your biodata page, a copy of that. Of course, you're going to go with the passport that you're renewing. Then you're required to bring a special delivery envelope and a £20 postal order that is payable to the Nigerian High Commission. So you will have to get these things before you go in into the office. So just ensure you have all these things. And an additional document that you will need to go to, which I went with, is a copy of my NIN, which is a big deal because that has to be verified before you would do anything. So I had to get all that ready, and since I was going with my child, I needed to come with additional documents for him, being a letter of consent from both parents. So I and my husband needed to write that letter that we're happy to have our child renew his passport. So we signed it. I also went with a copy of his birth certificate and also a copy of mine with the originals. I also went with a copy of his NIN for this meeting, and a photocopy of the dad's biodata page as well as mine, and a photocopy of his biodata page. So all these things went with me for this. So yeah, so that's a bit of a backstory. So you get all those things, you sort them out before you go, a whole lot of documents. So just make sure you sort all those things out before the day, because it can really be confusing. Okay, so let me start with my experience. So we got there, and the first thing that happens is at the entrance you would meet someone who would look at your, he didn't quite look at, he would just look at your appointment slip and then tell you to go downstairs. That's the first place where you will go. Yeah, he looked at the appointment slip and he gave me a ticket number with the number I would wait to be called or served. So you go in there. So when you go in there, of course, you're going to see other people like you waiting to be attended to. And my experience when I got there was that I saw people seated, and there was really no one telling anyone or telling me what I needed to do next. I think he just said you will be called. So while I was there waiting, I took the initiative to ask a few people questions like, so what do I need to do right now? And I think that's a gap, because I expected that when you come into an office, someone needs to guide you on the next steps or what you needed to do. I didn't experience any of that, so I had to go asking. And of course, I'm asking someone who is like me, who has come or maybe was there before me. And I asked her what I should do, and she said I needed to arrange my documents and put them in each person's passport, international passport. So all the documents that related to me will be in my own passport, and the ones for my son will be in his passport. So that was what I did. Like I said, I got that information from another Nigerian who was there waiting just like me, but I think she had been attended to, or she got the information from someone else. So you wait till your ticket number is called and you get there. When you get there, they now take all those documents, review them, ensure you came with all the required documents. Before I went, I think my husband had said, because he had been there last year to process his own documents with my other child, and my understanding was that my NIN gets verified at that point, but that was not my experience. So they just took all our documents and they said go back, sit down and wait to be called again. So we went and sat down. We were just there waiting. So usually what happens is, like I said, nobody's really telling you what you're to do or what you're required to do, or nobody's advising you. You're just there. So the best thing I would advise you to do if you get there is to move around and ask questions, because it's a very funny setup, if you ask me. So because while I was there, I saw that people were writing their names and address on their documents before they handed it in, and I wasn't told to do that, and I had already handed in my document. So I had to quickly rush to one of the staff. When I saw him, I said, I see that people are writing their names on their document, but I've already sent mine in. That what do I do? Can I retrieve it? They said no, it's not everybody that needs to do that, you know. So that's what I'm trying to say. You know, it's nobody is telling you what you're required to do. You're just there, you know, just waiting. And you can just be there and not get any information if you're not asking questions. So what happens next is, after that collection of your documents, so you wait to be called. I think they are batching it, so you wait for your batch to be called to move upstairs where the biometric happens. So that's where they will take your fingerprints and all that. So we waited there for quite some time, really. Yeah, so when we got up, we got there, we also sat down. And when we got there, so the next thing that happened when we got upstairs was someone now advised us that we should write our names and address on the prepaid special delivery envelope. So you write your name and your name and your address and your phone number. Oh yeah, I forgot to say this. So when they take your document, when they took my documents, they asked me, because they did the same to everybody else on the ground floor where they take your documents. So when they took my documents, they asked me to go and bring my locker number. And I was like, locker number? What locker? Like I said, nobody told me anything. I was just sitting down there. So at the point of getting my document reviewed, someone was now saying, go and get your locker number. And I said, well, what locker number? I said, you have to check in your phones into a locker, lock it up, and come back with a key where they had the numbers. I said, okay, I'll go and do that, because no one told me that I needed to check my phones in. So I went to where they had their lockers, and I got one that was open with the key. So I checked in all my phones. I came back. So they will put your locker number on your form before they let you sit down. I guess, you know, they don't want Nigerians to start creating content on them. So if you're going there, just know that your phones are not going to be allowed. What I mean by this is you're not going to be allowed to use your phone in the biometric section. In fact, while you're on that floor, once they take in your files, your documents, they want to start checking to know, are you still using your phone? Because it's expected that you've locked your phone and you'll just have your key. So we waited until we went upstairs. So when we got upstairs, so we had that, we were advised to fill out the prepaid special delivery envelope at that point. So everybody, of course, was running up and down, you know, trying to understand what to do. So I had one envelope because my husband told me that he just got one for himself and my son when he went. So I just bought only one. I filled my son's details and my name and his name, because I assumed that since we're together, they would put so that a special delivery envelope is where they'll put your passport when it's ready and they'll ship it back to you. So you need to fill out your information. So that was what I did, and I was just sitting and waiting. So what happens in that second room upstairs is that after checking your documents down, so they bring up people's passports with their papers in it and ready for biometrics, so more like screening you for the next stage. Okay, so while you're there, they start calling out your names and you would now go into the biometric room. But something that I also found funny was that at that point, at the biometric section, some people, instead of going to the room for their biometric, that was a waiting room, yes, were now asked to go down and resolve their NIN issues. And I felt really bad, you know, because I don't understand why someone would sit in an office for like an hour plus. You've collected their document, they just sat down there, you've told them to wait to move to the next point where they're going for their biometrics, and it is at that point that they are being told that their NIN has issues. I felt that the issue of that NIN verification should be happening right, should be the first thing really. If you come in, since it's a key documentation that everybody has to go through, I felt that that should have been the first thing that should have been checked before you even go to sit down, so that at that point, if your NIN has issues, there is no way you're going to process your passport. I felt it was really unfair to allow people to sit down for more than an hour waiting for their turn to get into the biometric section, and they're being told that their NIN had issues. But I was too tired. Today I was just an observer. I just wanted to, see how things were going on. And like I said, I will come back with my experience, talking about my experience. So that was one thing I noted, and I felt that that was not right. It wasn't right at all. Yeah, so some people had to go down to sort out their NIN issues, and of course what that meant is that they would not be able to process their passport today. And imagine people like me who live like 3 hours or almost 3 hours away from London, coming from a different city. There was a lady sitting beside me. She said she came all the way from Scotland, and she boarded the night bus and spent almost the whole night coming to London. She said she took the night bus and came into London that morning. So that was like her whole night on the bus. Just imagine this scenario, because the office, the central office where this things are going on, is in London office. So people come from different parts of the United Kingdom to process these things, and someone just sits down there, has had a very, very long day, and spends a lot of time sitting down without being told what to do. And when it's now time for them to do biometrics, you tell them their NIN has issues. That was really, really unfair and really horrible. I felt so horrible for those people, and I was just wishing that it would not be my story, because I have been having NIN issues for God knows how long. I've done videos on this. That was one major regret that I had, changing my name, because it cost me so much issues. It cost me so much money, even having to do a recapture here in United Kingdom. I know how much stress I've been through on the NIN thing. So nobody wants to come to that point and start hearing about that NIN. And even if they needed to hear that, it should have happened when they came, so that they would have gone to resolve their problem early enough, possibly go into town, look for who to deal with it, and come back same day to continue with the whole thing. But I mean, just look at the scenarios I've painted. People have, spent their days, spent money. A lot of people have inconvenienced themselves. Someone like me has been up since 5:30. I bought a train all the way to that place and spent all that time only to discover at the point of biometrics that my NIN has issues. That was not my situation. I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of those kind of people. That was totally unfair. So that happened to some people. So at that point, they had to go down. Then next thing, while we were there, someone now said, please bring your envelopes, let us look at it. So I said, let me just go and show them what I've done already. I mean, the special delivery envelope that I had filled out. So I sent it, I showed it to them, the man at the counter, and he said, yes, this is okay. Nothing wrong with it, but there is one thing wrong with this envelope and what you've done, and that is that you have 2 names on it. I said, yes, I have 2 names because I'm here to process documents for myself and for my son. That's the reason I have 2 names on it. He said, no, that we're not doing that any longer. We had to stop that, because if your document has issues or anyone's document has issues, that means that we will not be able to send both documents to you. And I said, God, but nobody has said this to me. I have been here all this while, since morning. Someone has taken my papers. Someone has supposedly screened me at the first desk downstairs, didn't mention this to me, and now I'm here at the biometric section where I'm supposed to conclude my passport experience, and I'm just being told this. So what do you want me to do now? What do you want me to do? I said, because I did this because my husband told me that he did the same for for himself and the son. Since two of them were here, they would put the two documents in the same envelope. He said yes, that he had to stop it because if someone's passport has issues, it means that both passports will not be processed. They will have to keep the passports in the office because it's just one envelope. And that was another thing I found really absurd. I didn't understand what other issue that people's passports should have, you know, at that point. Like I've already explained, at the point of entry, people who have the first issue, which is a required documentation, which should be the NIN, should have been verified, but they weren't verified until they are now at the biometrics level. So now people are at the biometrics level. I'm just wondering, if you've done your biometrics, what other issues should arise on your case that would warrant somebody having to, I don't know, detain your documents? Because we have done biometrics with 3 different countries. We've done it in United Kingdom and High Commission. We've done it in the US Embassy. Now this is Nigerian Embassy. So I'm talking about experience in these 3 places. I remember when we went for biometrics for our different visa. We've done like about 3 biometrics now for UK, and so I remember when my son was doing his biometrics, the printout showed that he had some marks on his fingers, and he picked it. The scanning machine picked it and asked to see what the mark was, and made a note on his document that this child had a mark on his finger, and it didn't impact on anything, you know. So I was just wondering, now we're here in person, what is that problem that can be resolved as I am here in person that would have to wait for me to go back and would now delay the processing of my passport when I am here in person? So anyway, I was not in the mood to argue with anyone. I just wanted everything to go normally because I don't have the energy for drama. So long story cut short, he told me that I could just go look for extra envelope, or I could buy from them because someone in there was selling it, and I had to buy an extra envelope. I think they're selling theirs for £10, and it had to be cash. And I was like, where do I get cash from? Oh my God. So I didn't have the cash. I said, so I cannot use my card to make this payment. He said, yes. He said, oh no. I said, I don't have cash. He said, yeah, you can go down. There is an ATM by the roadside. You can use a paying machine to withdraw cash. And I was like, by this time that I am about to go for biometrics, like, I shouldn't be going up and down by this time, for goodness sake. I've already spent a long time. I was hungry. I didn't eat before going. My child was also hungry. I just needed to get this thing over and done with. And now you're suggesting that I should go down to make this withdrawal for this envelope. I said, this is just, I don't know what to say. He said, well, if you don't want to go to withdraw the cash, we can use our machine or whatever to take the money, but you're going to have to pay £15. Oh my people, I paid a freaking £15 for that envelope. I can't even remember how much I bought that thing, you know, when I went to the post office to buy it. So I paid 15 horrible pounds for an additional envelope, and I found that really, really upsetting. I don't know. So yeah, I just had to do it because I don't want trouble. Like mine was, I just wanted everything to work well so that I don't have to I know how many times my husband had to go with my son to this place shuttling because of issues here and there. So I just wanted anything that would not make me come back here a second or a third time. So I just made that payment and I got a new envelope. So he said I should strike off one person's name and use the second envelope for the second person. So that was what I did. And I also feel that that is a process issue because, like I said, I don't know what problem. If I've done my biometrics, I don't understand what additional problem that should be happening at that point that you could not discover while I was in your office. The last time my son went for this thing, I think that they delayed my husband's passport for almost 6 months. Yeah, it took them almost 6 months to release that thing. And the reason was because they said that his fingerprint was corrupted. I don't understand, honestly. I don't want to go into that because I don't want to go into that story. Anyway, so I just got that additional envelope so that nobody's passport is delayed because of another person. Yeah, so yeah, then from there, luckily for me, nobody called me for NIN issues because I don't know, I might have just exploded at that point because I couldn't have sat in that office for 3 good hours because at this time, this was about after 2 p.m. I got in there by about after 11. I couldn't have sat down there after 3 hours and someone is coming to tell me that my NIN has issues when I'm supposed to be heading back to my house. So that was how we went in for the biometrics, and eventually that also happened. You know, so while I was there, people were trooping in for the biometrics. You know, there wasn't just, yeah, so I mean, the order wasn't there. Yeah, so those are some of the things, the issues, you know, the oddliness is not there. And someone was asking, so what do we do now? I said, my sister, I'm just like you. I don't know what I'm doing. Just open your ears. The only thing I'm doing, is just to open my ears to make sure that I hear my name whenever they call it, because nobody, like I said, nobody is telling you anything. So you move from one room to another. No one is telling you exactly what to expect. So you're just staring about, you know, just waiting for your name to be called or for the next available thing to be said. So yeah, so that is just a story I have to share of my experience. I hope I've been able to give you some tips about what to expect when you're going for your passports at the Nigerian High Commission. So that was my experience. I don't know how to feel about it. Good, bad, I don't know. I'm just too tired right now to feel anything. All I'm hoping for is that our passports will come back without any additional stories, because honestly, I don't want to find myself heading to London on this topic. Like, I just want it to be over and done with so that I can do what I want to do with my passport. Yeah, so I promised to bring that story to you, and I've done it. I've, you know, freed my heart because I needed to pump this thing out so that I don't forget the whole thing. Yeah, so any questions? And I've given you the website if you want to do your renewals. Just key it, and it's supposed to be straightforward. I hope you find it straightforward. Yeah, so till I see you again. Bye.